Hello?
I can hear you. I don't think they've started yet in the room.
That is correct. We're just about to get rolling.
Okay, thank you.
Of course.
I'm just getting texts from multiple people. Thank you.
No worries.
7 and 11 are
7 and 11. Yeah. Alrighty. Are we? At your convenience. I am good. Away.
Welcome to our hybrid meeting. Participants in the room, please do not join the meeting in Zoom. Virtual participants, if you lose connection at any point during the meeting, you can reconnect by clicking the link or calling the number in your original email. Members attending virtually, if you are able, please activate your video for purpose of quorum and keeping it on for the duration of the meeting. Staff, if you are able, please activate your video when you are speaking. Members of the committee, when you wish to speak, ask questions, or request a roll call vote, please push the button on your microphone or raise your hand virtually. Those in the room will have their microphone turned on when they are recognized to speak. Those attending virtually can unmute themselves when recognized. When you are finished, all should mute themselves. Members of the public who have registered to speak. Those appearing virtually, the name you entered in Zoom must match the name you entered in registration. You will remain muted until called upon. If you are here in person, when you are called to speak, approach one of the two podiums on either side of the dais, and you will be recognized. For all registrants, the clerk will tell you when your time is up. After all public speakers, a member of the body may ask you a question. If you need to share documentation with the committee, please send it to the email listed on today's agenda. Thanks. Chair, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Verbeek. So this meeting is governed by Robert's Rules of Order. All speakers wishing to address the committee regarding an agenda item must first complete a registration form and submit it to the city clerk designee. Speakers may speak to the committee only after they're called by the chair. Each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes. The public is not allowed to address or respond to speakers or committee members unless they've been recognized by the chair of the committee. Mr. Verbeek, do we have any notified absences?
Yes, Ms. Westra is the notified absence.
Excellent. And I call this meeting of the Alcohol License Review Committee to order at 5:38 p.m. Mr. Verbeek, will you please call the roll?
Yes. Just give me 1 second.
At your convenience.
Alder Miazzi? Alder Revere?
Here.
Mr. Barashuk?
Here.
Barashuk here. Dr. Reese?
Here.
Dr. Reese here. Ms. Farley?
Present.
Ms. Farley is here. Mr. Donnelly?
Present.
Mr. Donnelly is here. Ms. Westra is excused. Alder Carter?
Present.
Alder Carter is here. Chair, we do have quorum.
Excellent. Our first order of business is approval of the minutes from our meeting on February 15th. Committee, what's your pleasure?
Move approval.
Hear a motion to approve, and I see a second from Mr. Bruchak. Are there any corrections or is there any discussion? Hearing none, motion carries. Minutes are approved. Mr. Verbeek, do we have any registrants for general public comment?
We do not.
All right, moving right along. Disclosures and recusals. So at this time, nope, it was one head. Members of the body should make any required disclosures or recusals under the city's ethics code. Are there any such disclosures or recusals? Hearing none. Presentation of the consent agenda. So at this time, consent agenda will be moved. Each item will have a recommended action, which could be to grant with conditions, or some other recommended action. Any item that has registrants opposed and wishing to speak, any item which members of the committee have separated out for discussion and debate purposes, items requiring ordinance changes or operator's license applications will not be included in the consent agenda. Mr. Verbeek, what is the proposed consent agenda?
The proposed consent agenda for ALRC meeting March 15th, 2023. Recommended council to grant temporary Class B retail license concurrent with street use permits, item 2. Change of agent, items 3 and 4. Business name change, items 5 and 6. Change of license premises, item 8. Public hearing new license, items 13 and 15. And change license premise, item number 20.
All right, committee, which of those items, if any, would you like separated from the consent agenda? Assistant City Attorney Brist.
I'd like to request that item 13 be taken from the consent agenda.
Very well, it has been. Are there any other items? Alder Carter. Alder Carter. Alder Carter.
You're muted.
14 and 15 are new license, aren't they?
14 and 15 are.
I should say 15. I think we just took 14 off.
The reason I didn't take, the reason I included 15 on there, they appeared before the meeting last month as just a Class B beer, and then asked the meeting if they could get alcohol as well for a combo, and we told them they had to reapply. They did so. I looked at their application between this month and previous month. They've actually reduced their outdoor capacity by 25 people, and their hours have been reduced by an hour during the weekdays. Other than that, it's the same application as last month.
Okay, great.
Do you still
Thank you, Jim.
Do you still want to take it off?
No.
But for what it's worth, Sherry, I had exactly the same exchange with Jim before the meeting. Any further items that people would like separated from the consent agenda? All right, in that case, do I hear a motion to accept the consent agenda as amended?
So moved.
A motion from Alder Carter. Ms. Farley, is that a second? Or anyone else? Mr. Bruchak seconds.
Yeah, okay.
Is
Second.
there any discussion?
Can I just clarify? The
course.
motion is to accept the change proposed by Attorney Briss.
Yes. Yeah, as amended. Okay, so we've got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. Any dissent? Hearing none. Motion carries. Mr. Verbeek will now read off the items that have been disposed of on the consent agenda. If you are here for and only for one of those items, please feel free to go about your evening. Mr. Verbeek.
Sure. The past consent agenda for LRC meeting March 15, 2023. Recommended council to grant item number 2, temporary Class B retailer license concurrent with street use permit, Masson Festivals, Inc., event location, Capitol Square. Event dates, September 2nd, 2023, from 2 p.m. to 8:30 p.m., and September 3rd, 2023, from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. The event is Taste of Madison. Item number 3, change of agent, Madison Association of the Deaf. Item number 4, change of agent, Blue Plate Catering, Inc. Item number 5, business name change, Delicacies of Asia LLC, 506 State Street. Current DBA, Delicacies of Asia, new DBA, Hot Pot 608, all you can eat. Item number 6, business name change, HML LLC at 546 West Washington Avenue. Current DBA, Sushi Tora, new DBA, Bar Tora. Item number 8, change of license premises, Tip Top Tap, Inc. Item number 15, public hearing new license, Cultura Cali LLC, 108 King Street, Class B combination liquor and beer. And item number 20, change of license premises, Ultimate Mart LLC.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Verbeek. So again, all of those items have been disposed of. We will not be discussing them further tonight. Next up, we have a couple of items where there is an interpreter. So unless there are any concerns, I want to move on to item 7. Item 7 is a change of licensed premises for El Panzon at 1310 South Midvale. Do we have a, oh, no. What order do we do this? Do we have a registrant here for this item?
We do.
Okay. And do you need to swear in the interpreter?
Yes. If I could have the interpreter raise their right hand and affirm if you will accurately interpret English to Spanish and Spanish to English.
I am raising my hand and I am swearing that I'm accurately interpreting from Spanish to English.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Wonderful.
English
Thank
to
you.
Spanish.
Okay. So who do we have registered for this item?
We have Matilda Ani Rojas Munoz.
Excellent. Matilda, can you please introduce yourself and let us know what you are proposing to change about your restaurant?
Matilda, por favor, se puede presentar ante nosotros y nos puede decir qué es lo que usted quiere cambiar con respecto a su negocio.
Sí, hola, buenas tardes. ¿Sí me escuchan?
Hello, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Say again?
Hello, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Sí, señora, sí la podemos escuchar.
Ok, bueno, mire, mi nombre es Matilde y la razón de que estoy pidiendo un permiso para hacer la licencia más grande es porque nos vamos a expandir el negocio, entonces va a haber más capacidad para más gente para comer.
Hello, my name is Matilda, and the reason why I'm here is because we want to expand our business. Since we are seeking to expand our business, there is going to be more space for more clients. That's the reason why I'm here tonight.
Excellent. Thank you. Committee, what questions do you have for the applicant? Mr. Verbeek, are there any other registrants for this item?
Le preguntaron al comité Matilda si había alguien que quisiera hacer alguna pregunta, o hubo personas que quieren hacer preguntas. Van a preguntar si hay algún otro registrante que quiera hablar para esta aplicación.
Sí, está bien, estoy de acuerdo.
No other registrants.
No hay más registrados.
Alder Carter.
Thank you. I guess my first question is, what are your hours? I'm looking at the agenda online and I can't open up the item details. So can you tell me your hours and where are you located on Midvale Boulevard? Is this close to the Brookfield shopping strip?
La concejal Carter le quiere hacer unas preguntas, Matilda. La primera pregunta es, ¿cuáles son las horas de operación del negocio? Porque no pudo abrir todo el informe. Y segundo, la localización de su negocio está en un mall que se llama Brooklyn Mall, o es cercano a eso, en Midvale.
Sí, estamos en la Midvale, cerca de del hardware. Está una tienda mexicana y el Tigre, un bar también está cerca. Y nuestros horarios sería de 10 de la mañana a 10 de la noche. De lunes a viernes. Y el sábado sería de 10 de la mañana a 8 de la noche.
Y entre semana de 10 de la mañana a 10 de la noche.
Ajá, de lunes a viernes. Y el sábado solamente sería de 10 a 8 y el domingo sería cerrado.
So yes, indeed, we are by Midvale Road, very close to the Bell Line. That is a street mall where there is a lounge that's called Tigre Lounge. There are a couple of Mexican stores. There is the Harvard store. It's we are located there. And our hours of operation will be Monday to Friday from 10 to 10, and Saturdays from 10 to 8. Sundays will be closed.
Okay, thank you very much.
Esas son sus respuestas.
Sí.
Thank you, Alder Carter. Ms. Farley?
You are unmuted. Yes, looking at your plan here, I want to make sure I understand. You're expanding your premises, that is at 1310 South Midvale, to also include 1306 South Midvale. Are these properties connected, or how would patrons travel between the two?
La señorita Farley le quiere preguntar lo siguiente, Matilda. Ustedes tienen dos locales consecutivos, usted se va a expandir a un local consecutivo, o usted tiene que ir de un local a otro saliendo por la puerta.
No, esto fue un proceso que hicimos y sí, efectivamente vamos a unir los dos locales.
This is a process that ended up renovating and putting together two different places, but they are one at the side of the other. So we are not going to have to leave the premises in any instance.
Understood. Thank you.
Gracias.
A usted.
All right, thank you, Ms. Farley. Are there any further questions for the applicant?
¿Hay alguna otra pregunta?
Pues no, nada más quiero hacer las cosas bien como he estado haciendo.
No era para usted. No. Tranquila.
Okay.
Ms. Farley, is your hand just up from before? Okay. Any further questions for the applicant? All right, committee, what is your pleasure? Ms. Farley.
Move to grant.
A motion to grant from Ms. Farley. Is there a second? Second from Mr. Bruchak. Any discussion? Hearing none. Any dissent? Hearing none. Motion carries. Item 7 is granted. Congratulations, Matilda, and have a good night.
Matilda, le entregaron la petición de su cambio y expansión del negocio. Felicitaciones. Buenas noches.
Thank you. Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Okay.
De nada.
Next up, items 9 and 14 will also require an interpreter. Item 9 is a 21-plus entertainment license for the Capitol at 430 West Gilman. 14 is a new license, a Class B combo for the same establishment. Mr. Verbeek, do we have anyone registered for this item or these items?
Not at the moment. Not at the moment, but I can see if I can reach out to them again. Just send an email. Otherwise, no, we don't have anyone registered for these two items.
Alder Carter?
I move to table
I
this
hear,
item.
I hear a motion to table items 9 and 14. Is there a second? Second from Dr. Reese. Any discussion? Hearing none. Any dissent? Mr. Bruchak.
Point of discussion, or rather, a question for the chair. The motion is to table.
Correct.
Would it be more appropriate, to refer to the next meeting, or?
I believe that the intent is to table and then pick it up if they show up later in the meeting.
Okay, that's fine with me.
Absolutely.
I would just give the recommendation that we don't wait too long because we do have an interpreter here for that. So we are paying them, and if the person is not going to show up within, I would say, an hour or so, that it'd probably be best if we just refer it.
Sure.
Okay, I just don't want it to lay on the table, and that's a procedure that it's not that typical here, but.
Oh, I see. No, we will pick it up off the table before we leave here tonight.
Okay, sounds good.
But thank you.
I'm sorry, as an interpreter, I am only going to be available here for half an hour more.
You'll be available for how long?
We were requested to be here from 5:30 to 6:30.
Okay.
Okay. Well, if they haven't showed up by 6:30, then they'll be out of time.
I am sorry, and in the
Nope.
meantime, I can look for another interpreter.
Not a
if
problem.
you want.
Not a problem. It's okay.
Thank you. Sorry for
Not a problem.
interruption.
Okay. Next up, we have item 10, which is a new license for Lucky's Market at 2201 South Park. And we might discuss that at the same time as item 11, which is a new license for Lucky's Market at 2703 West Beltline. Mr. Verbeek, do we have a registrant here for items 10 and 11?
Let's see. We have one registrant for 10, and then we have the owner again for 11, plus 3 other people registered for 11.
All right. Well, let's hear from the owner first, please.
All right.
Hello.
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 Yep. Hi there. Can you please state your name for the record and tell us about your proposed businesses?
Yes, my name is Lakvir Kaur, and I will be the owner for both locations, for Park Street and Bethline. And I am hoping to get a liquor license, to have some collection of liquor in the back of the cash register for the both locations, and some local wine. That is what I'm hoping. And in the past, I've been actually running liquor stores in the area for more than 10 years. I started in Verona. Currently, I have 2 liquor stores in Madison, one and on a Middle Point Road, which will be ending after I take over this. And on other one is on Packers Avenue and the north side
All
of
right.
Madison. Yep.
Thank you very much. Committee, what questions do you have for the applicant? Alder Carter?
Thank you. Lockie, will you be selling a gasoline, fuel, diesel, or regular gas?
Yes, everything will remain same as the 7-Eleven. Nothing, only the thing is that the franchise is going away, so only the logos for the 7-Eleven will be gone. But as far as the gas station and convenience store, everything will be running as the same.
And
will be-
what kind of inventory produce will you be carrying in this convenience store?
Definitely same stuff that 7-Eleven had, but I am planning to actually bring more of grocery stuff. I have noticed that sometime when I'm there, I was there actually, people were looking for, some local, some daily use groceries. So I'm planning to add actually more food. For example, household kitchen stuff, some fresh vegetables, since currently they don't have, and just a little expand in the food side, but otherwise everything will remain same.
Okay,
But
thank you.
Addition to the liquor area in the back of the cash register.
Thank you. Chair Donnelly, I do have a question. I'm sure you can answer it, or Attorney Brisk. Can I ask that now?
Sure.
I believe that ordinance 38.07 for these two properties, which establishments the selling motor vehicle fuel, which restricts the selling of liquor at any establishment that sells gasoline or fuel.
I believe that is correct, but I will defer to Assistant City Attorney Brist. I can say that the previous license at each of these each of these locations was a Class A beer.
Correct.
Assistant City Attorney Brist.
I believe that is correct, yes. The liquor is not sold where we have gasoline.
How come all the quick trips have them?
Alcohol, liquor, not alcohol. So gas stations are allowed to sell beer, but not hard alcohol.
I think we've also allowed them to sell wine, haven't we?
We have. In the case where they do wine, then we issue a Class B combination beer and liquor license and put conditions on it restricting the sale to just beer and wine.
This would be a Class A in this case, though, right?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, Class A. I misspoke. Alder Carter?
Yes.
So go ahead, Attorney Burst. I didn't mean to cut you off.
I think
I'm done. For now.
In light of that, I think that this application needs to be revised. They cannot have liquor at either location. Chair, what is the direction we should take?
If I could, we have had applicants apply for Class A beer, Class A liquor, and then the committee just puts a condition on the license that limits the Class A liquor to sale of wine only.
I am willing to put that condition on at the appropriate time.
That would work.
all right. Committee, what additional questions do you have for this registrant? Ms. Farley?
Yes, are both locations selling gas, or is it just the one location?
Both locations will be selling gas. They are gas stations right now.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I'm just going back at the Elder Carter's comment about not
Well,
having
actually,
liquor.
you have not been called on. We will let you know when we have questions.
Thank you.
So, committee, what other questions do you have for the applicant? Mr. Bruchak.
Thank you, Chair. So the first question for the applicant is, do you understand that if we approve this, it won't include the right to sell spirits and liquor? And second question is, I'd like to hear what the applicant was about to say before being cut off.
Of course.
Yes, thank you so much. Yes. Okay, I was just wanted to respond back to Elder Carter's comment. But I could be wrong, but I have gone to a lot of, I'm not sure if that Orion section where it says the gas station can't have a liquor is only applied to Madison, or is it Wisconsin or all the swerve areas? Because I have gone to the liquor stores, multiple ones, I can name it.
The statute, the ordinance that Alder Carter was referring to is in Madison General Ordinances. So it would only be in the city of Madison and not elsewhere in Wisconsin.
Oh, okay. Okay, because yeah, that's what I was about to clarify, that I have gone to a lot of gas stations around like Middleton, Verona. They do have, liquor. There's a limited amount of, variety, but they do have variety of liquor in
But
that.
we are, these locations are both in the city of Madison, and so Madison ordinances will apply to them. Mr. Bruchak, do you have further questions?
No.
Okay. Committee, what other questions do you have for the applicant? Okay. Mr. Verbeek, you said that there were other registrants for item 11. Do any of them wish to speak?
Yes, one of them. Do you want me to say the ones who don't want to speak are?
Why don't you read off all the ones who don't, and then we'll move on to the one who does.
Sure. So for the ones not wishing to speak, Darcy Becker is opposed, not wishing to speak, and Gregory Schuler is opposed, not wishing to speak. Roberta Sonnentag is opposed, but is wishing to speak, and she is here.
All right. Roberta, can you please introduce yourself and then let us know what you think?
I certainly can. Can you hear me adequately?
We can.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I was not aware of the ordinance that Alder Carter brought to light, so I don't want to take a whole lot of time, but I am a member of the Arbor Hills Association. I speak for myself, not for the association. I just wanted to voice my opposition to a liquor license being advanced. I am very excited about the 7-Eleven becoming a new market under new ownership, and I will be the first neighbor to support them because right now it's really not a very desirable place, and I'm looking for good things. But I am concerned about additional alcohol sales on that corner. I think I've done a fair amount of research, and a 10% increase in access to alcohol through outlets like convenience stores is associated with about a 4.4% increase in violent crime. And we already have challenges on that corner in the neighborhood. And I just really want to make sure that whoever owns that site going forward is a good partner. And we in turn will be a good partner to that business. So I'd be pleased to have the business continue in its current state, but I don't think additional sales of alcohol are warranted or in the best interest of the community.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Roberta. Committee, do you have any questions for this registrant? Ms. Farley, and after that, we'll hear from Alder Figueroa Cole.
Yes, I just want to clarify, are you opposed to granting a alcohol license entirely, or are you opposed to granting an alcohol license with liquor rather than like beer and wine?
I understand that the 7-Eleven already had a Class B license. I'm sorry, a Class B alcohol license for beer. And I certainly understand that they bought these sites with the understanding that there was already a license. I think it would be unrealistic. I am not opposed. I mean, truly, I'd rather if there were no alcohol sales on their corner, but I am not coming to this meeting opposed to any sales. I don't want to see the sales increase, and I certainly don't want liquor, hard liquor sold in the neighborhood. I don't think it's necessary, and I'm glad to hear about the ordinance.
All right. Ms. Farley, do you have additional questions?
No, thank you. And also for clarification, a Class B would be like a license for an open container, like a bar. In this case, we are talking about Class A, Class A beer or Class A liquor.
Mhm.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Farley. Just to lay to rest any doubt, here is the policy from Madison General Ordinances. So, establishments selling motor vehicle fuels. The City of Madison finds that it is appropriate to prohibit the sale of intoxicating liquors other than wine at retail establishments that also sell gasoline or diesel fuel because of the availability of intoxicating liquors to the motoring public at locations where fuel is purchased could encourage or facilitate alcohol-related driving offenses. All right. And no new Class B license or Class A license authorizing retail sale of intoxicating liquors shall be issued to any establishment which also sells motor vehicle fuels, unless the licensee agrees to the license condition that the establishment will limit sales of intoxicating liquors to wine. So this is not something that we can decide that we want to go against. This is ordinance. Alder Figueroa Cole.
Thank you. I don't know if this is the proper time, but I'll throw it out there. So we had a neighborhood meeting and we discussed with the neighborhood some safety concerns, and I just want to make sure that those safety concerns are included in your decision, but I don't know. I want to confirm with the applicant that she's willing to agree to them. And so we discussed having having in writing good quality security cameras, lighting, fixing the parking lot, having making sure that the trespassing signs are visible and readable, and ensuring that they collaborate with MPD when people are on the parking lot, to call MPD to help them if they need help to get them out of the parking lot. And I'm missing one. And also there was a big concern about the single bottles provision. So I was wondering if we are, I remember the other one, the most important one, to put somewhere in writing to ensure that the applicant and the neighborhood association are in, they kind of report back to each other on the status of the how's it going during the first 6 months at least, and hopefully just establish a relationship that is longer than 6 months. But at the minimum, put that as a condition. I want to know if those conditions can be applied by the committee, and if the applicant is willing to accept them.
Sure. Well, I'll start with what can be imposed by the committee.
Thank you.
There is a condition on the current license at each of those locations that there shall be no sale of single bottles or cans of beer or fermented malt beverages. So that is certainly a condition that could be imposed again. We have had conditions on a number of licenses in the past related to security cameras, and I can find some sample wording of that while the meeting goes on. While we have had cases in the past where we've had a condition requiring meetings with the neighborhood association, personally, I wouldn't recommend it, as it is not a meaningful thing just to say you'll talk to them, and if not, it would still require a revocation hearing to deal with it if that condition weren't met. That said, if it is the will of the committee, we could have a condition like that. Certainly, Alder Figueroa Cole, you would be able to, when we hit renewal time, request that this license be separated if there do turn out to be problems, which would provide ample opportunity for cleanup discussion. What questions do you have?
So the lighting and the trespassing signs.
Assistant City Attorney Brist, can you weigh in on having conditions about lighting and no trespassing signs?
Okay, the lighting issue we haven't dealt with before, that I'm aware of, but I mean, it could be a judgment call on the part of the committee if it doesn't feel that the lighting is safe, that it could take action. What was the other matter?
The trespassing signs. PD
What was the question about the
and make
trespass?
sure that those are.
You know what?
So MPD wants to.
I just found a relevant one. Another license has a
Right.
condition that the establishment shall post signs prohibiting loitering on the property. So
That's an existing condition?
that is an existing condition on another license, not at
On
any of
another
these
license,
locations.
okay.
So I think
So there's precedent for that one.
there is precedent.
You do have precedence for the lighting too, just so you know. I've been involved in that one, so. So anyhow, I want to see if the applicant is okay with all of, willing to follow those conditions. I think she, in the meeting, it was, it was kind of inclined to yes, but I just want her to give it opportunity to see if she's still agreeable with those terms.
Of course. Lekvir, can you respond to Alder Figueroa Cole, please?
Yes, absolutely. Those conditions, yes, I agree to everything.
Well, that's very easy. Thank you. Alder Figueroa Cole, do you have any additional questions or comments?
No, I mean, again, I just want them on the record to just, if we need to review all these things, we had that available. That's really what I want to make sure that some of those community concerns that I don't know what's going on there. Can you, I don't know if you can mute whoever. Okay. So anyhow, I wanted just to make sure that the concerns that were brought up by MPD and the community the other day are covered. So thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Alder Figueroa Cole. Let's see, Alder Carter.
Yes, can we have Jim speak and then come back to me? He might have something relevant.
Mr. Verbeck.
Sure. I was looking up, we have conditions and license for Rocky's Liquor at 4217 West Beltline Highway. There's a condition to establishment shall have outdoor lights with motion sensors on all sides. Number 2 is shall have video surveillance equipment inside and outside of the building that complies with Mass and General Ordinance 38.05 (13). In order to curtail drinking, drug use, and drug sales on the property, exterior surveillance shall be continuous and not be limited to business hours. Item number 3, establishment shall report to police all illegal activity found on camera recordings or seen in person. And item number 14, establishment shall post signs prohibiting loitering on the property. That's all I had.
All right.
Thank you. And let me just say that it should be loitering and not no trespassing, because anyone could be walking over there and be deemed as trespassing. One of the things that I want to make sure, this is the same owner for both locations, the conditions should be relatively the same.
Of course.
I want to go ahead.
I said, of course.
Okay. So one of the things that I think that we should be talking about is having your cameras are operable at all times. I disagree with having any establishment having to check in with the neighborhood association. Those calls of service are going to the MPD. That's what calls of service is. And MPD is very intuitive on knowing that there's a problem and will notify the alder if there is a problem. And there could be an additional community meeting. So therefore, I would like to see for the first 6 months, the applicant and self-district captain Zanders meeting to look at the progress of the security, the lighting, and any incidents that may occur. Not saying that there will be, but may occur. And I'll let Alder Verveer wordsmith all of that for us. Or Chair Donnelly, you're good at that too.
All right. I've got a draft that we can talk about in a little bit, but first, Ms. Farley. Ms. Farley?
I was double muted. I also disagree with having the provision of requiring the applicant meet with the neighborhood committee, especially given that the applicant does seem so willing to communicate with them. I'd also like to question the requirement for no loitering signs. I'm curious how successful these signs would actually be in, I guess, dissuading undesirable activity.
Noted. Alder Carter?
I was just going to say, is Captain Hansen here that can talk to how successful or unsuccessful loitering signs are?
Thank you. This would be used as one more tool for patrol officers as they're in the area or receive complaints, that we could make a contact with an individual and then decide where to go from there, whether it's to educate or enforce.
Does that answer your question, Alder Carter?
I think so.
Yes, it does. I'll come back. I have one more thing to add.
Mr. Bruchak, then Alder Figueroa Cole.
Well, thank you. About the no loitering sign, I'm a bit concerned about this committee mandating that a business owner create a sign that seeks to sort of regulate a type of behavior on their private property in such a way that it gives the police an additional tool that they wouldn't otherwise have. So if a customer goes to this establishment and stands there for like, say, 30 minutes, and if the business owner is okay with that, but we've mandated that they have this sign that says no loitering, and then the Madison police, on their judgment perhaps, think that's loitering, I'm not sure that it would be, I'm not sure that this committee should get in between that decision. If the business owner is unhappy with what someone's doing on their property, then the business owner can put that sign there or call the police if necessary. So I suppose I'd be willing to hear any reactions from other members of this committee to what I just said.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr.
Chair, I think it also needs to be noted that there's bus stops at both of these locations.
That is indeed noteworthy. Alder Figueroa Cole. I'm sorry. Thank you, Mr. Bruchak. Alder Figueroa Cole.
Yes, thank you. I am a bit confused because I'm pretty sure that is a trespassing sign what we have put in the Rockies location. And that is what MPD had requested. It's just to avoid for people to sit around on the parking lot like we had in other gas stations in areas nearby, and to make sure that the police have the authority to remove them from the parking lot, not a loitering sign. So I guess I'm confused between what the difference is here. Can someone please clarify?
Mr. Bruchak, would you like to respond?
I don't know the difference between a no loitering and a no trespassing sign, but I think it would be my guess that the word trespassing is more well defined than the word loitering.
Yeah. So for MPD, I can maybe Captain Hanson answer, or maybe Mike Verveer. I guess I'm confused with the proposition of having a loitering sign.
Mr. Bruchak.
And I'd just like to clarify, I'm using the word loitering because I think I heard someone previously say that we're seeking a loitering, not a trespassing. So that's why I'm talking about loitering.
Yeah, and I'm agreeing with you. Absolutely agreeing with you. I'm as confused as you are. So I'm wondering if someone, maybe an attorney or MPD, can clarify those two terms for us.
Our preference would be what we do with most businesses, or businesses that inquire or have issues, is a no trespassing sign. And I can assure you that the officers are going to find the path of least resistance. That's our training. So if they do come across somebody in a parking lot, we're going to make a contact. We're going to see, we're only going to be drawn there if there's a complaint. So a business owner or resident or neighbor calls, and then we would go to address the complaint. And then it's also a good tool for after hours as well. So it shuts down at 9 p.m. and it's now 2 in the morning and people are doing drugs or drinking. Having the no trespassing sign up would be very beneficial for us and the business.
Okay.
Any further comments, Mr. Bruchak?
So is there the fear that without this sign that the police would be unable to investigate or act on a disturbance? I guess I'm still not quite understanding why the question of whether to put the sign shouldn't rest with the business owner.
It's just another tool for us. So if somebody is trespassing and that sign is there and we try the education route, hey, it's 2 a.m, it's the business is closed, you should move, and they're either squatting or stand there or refuse, this is a tool that we could use for an arrest to remove the person.
Okay, thank you.
Can I add something?
You may.
Thank you. So, I mean, again, so this is something that the owner, I think those signs are already on the premises. We don't know how old they are, but they're already on the premises. The owner is accepting them. I think it's to her advantage to have them. Yeah, so I just wanted to clarify that. Thank you.
All right. So,
Chair
yes.
Donnelly.
Mhm.
I just want to say this will end the discussion between loitering and trespassing, that there is no loitering ordinance on the books. And I think Attorney Briss can confirm that. So we are talking about trespassing, which is on the books. Which is an ordinance, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Is there
And I have another question when you're ready.
Go for it.
Okay, I wanted to know, Jim, I believe that 7-Eleven had beer, wine, and cider only on their license. Is that correct? As my memory on target, or am I getting Youngsheimer's?
Let me look it up real quick. So at the Park Street location, it was just Class A beer, so it was only beer. And then for the
Same thing for the other one.
Same thing for the other one.
That would be part of my recommendation. Thank you.
So I have attempted to share a screen, and I don't know if I've succeeded. Can one of the folks who's remote let me know whether that's happening?
No, it was bouncing between full screen feature and like we can see your camera, but we can't see the computer screen.
Is it on the computer that you're currently in the Zoom meeting with? By any chance?
No.
That would be the easiest way to share.
I tried to do that, and
Are you in your Zoom? Do you have Zoom open?
Are you trying to share via HDMI?
currently HDMI, but it would be easier to do it via Zoom. It just didn't. When I tried to do that, it said I wasn't allowed to.
Oh, okay. I can change permissions. 1 second.
Beautiful. Okay. So while that is going, who do we have up next? Alder Carter, do you have any further questions or comments?
No.
All right. Ms. Farley.
I'd like to make a motion.
You may certainly do so.
I would like to move to grant with the provision that sales be limited to beer, wine, and cider, and that the applicant provide, I think the lighting terminology was motion sensor lighting on all sides of the building, as well as 24-hour cameras.
Okay. Ms. Farley, do you
Oh,
want...
and no one container. Oh, yeah. Like the single.
All right. So the conditions that Ms. Farley is moving are that sale of intoxicating liquor is limited to beer, wine, and cider, that there shall be no sale of single bottles or cans of beer or fermented malt beverages, that the establishment shall have outdoor lights with motion sensors for all sites of the building, and that the establishment shall have video surveillance equipment inside and outside that complies with Madison General Ordinances 38.05 sub 13. Is that correct, Ms. Farley?
Yes, Chair. Thank you.
All right. Do I hear a second?
Second, alcohol sales should cease by 11 p.m.
That is not a condition that
Okay,
Ms.
so that's
Farley...
not highlighted. Okay, thank you. Just wanted to make sure.
So we have a motion and a second. Wow. We have a motion and a second. Alder Verveer.
Thank you, Chair Donnelly. I have a question for the applicant, please. But before I ask the question, just to confirm, is this motion on both agenda items? Are we concurrently taking up both items at this time?
We certainly can, but I will defer to Ms. Farley. Is it your intention that this motion cover items 10 and 11?
Yes.
All right, there's your answer, Alder Verveer.
Thank you. So I do have a question for the applicant, if I might.
By all means.
Thank you. So, Lockie, nice to hear your voice. It's been a long time. Welcome back. As I review the applications for each of these locations, you state the hours being from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. Is that still your intention after learning that you won't be able to sell spirits by ordinance? Do you still intend to close at 9 p.m. As if you're, primarily an alcohol establishment? If you're speaking, Lockie, you're muted.
Hello, sorry.
There you go.
Okay. For in the application, I have the hours that I will be selling any beer or liquor. But the gas station will be actually opening at 6 a.m. But we will not have any sales of any, just now, what 7-Eleven have actually. The hours will stay same. Right now, I think their hours are 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. But they sell beer only from 8 to 9 p.m. So that will be the hours.
Thank you. So on your application, maybe you misunderstood the question. We don't ask hours of alcohol sales. We ask, quote, hours of operation. It's question number 23 on the application. And you say 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. But so now that you understand the question, when do you plan to have each store open and close?
6 a.m. to 10 p.m. So I'm so sorry. That's my...
No worries. Don't worry about it. So each store would close at 10 p.m.
Yeah. Thank you for noticing that.
The reason I ask is, as you might be aware, both of the existing beer licenses at these locations do have as a specific condition their operating hours because of the problems we had at each of these locations over the years. So if we did include a condition that alcohol sales shall cease at a certain time, it would, your plan to just simply follow the ordinance, which is 9 PM. So
Yes.
the condition not included in the motion, 11 PM, because it's Class A, actually would be inconsistent with our ordinance.
Oh, can we actually?
No,
Let me.
we're saying to the chair that's kindly having a, motion up on the screen. I don't know if you can see the screen or not, Lockie, but anyway, it was on there that 11 PM, but you wouldn't legally be able to sell alcohol
Yeah.
past 9 PM since it's a Class A license. Or for that matter, Class Bs can't sell it to go after 9 PM either in Madison. But anyway, can you see your screen or no? Can you see?
I can see my screen.
Okay.
Actually, now I know.
Do you have any objection to the condition that your operating hours shall be 5 AM to 11 PM at each location?
No, I don't have any objections. That's okay. Yep.
So you have no concerns about that? I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
The conditional.
I still can't hear
Yeah,
you.
I don't
apologize.
Okay, let me see. Yep. Yeah,
Oh,
I can.
I don't mean to rush you. Yeah, if you need to look at wording.
I think I am. I have no issues with anything. I am okay with everything that I see on the screen.
You have no concerns with anything that you see written there?
Nope, I don't see. Unless I'm missing. So far, I think everything it looks all right to me. 5 a.m. to 11 p.m. But we can close at 10 if we want to, right? It's
Oh,
our
yeah.
choice. As long as we don't stay. Okay.
Yes, that's a good point.
Because I don't want to be forced to stay until 11 there. Just kidding. I'm just.
I understand. I don't blame you.
Yeah. So.
You see how the chairperson has corrected that?
Yeah, that was nice. As like I said, right now they're opening until 10, and I am planning to keep the same hours for now. We'll see if we have to in the summer extend to 11 p.m., but I'm not sure yet.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Revere, do you have additional questions?
Actually, my question, my only other question, I don't have an additional question for the applicant. My other question is actually for Attorney Brist or Deputy City Clerk Verbeck. In the proposed condition number 1, I believe Chapter 125 of the statutes defines intoxicating liquor as not including beer and cider.
You're correct. You beat me to what
That's absolutely correct.
So that should really say is limited to wine only, Chair Donnelly. Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
It can say cider as well because cider is an intoxicating liquor.
Oh, is it under 125? It's covered by both?
Yep.
But the applicant doesn't need a cider license because it's covered.
Correct.
The combination, or Class A liquor rather.
Right. But if we said it's limited to wine rather than saying it's limited to wine and cider, cider wouldn't be allowed.
Thank you. That's all I had. Thank you.
Okay. So there are a number of people in the queue. I assure you we'll get to all of you. But first, Alder Verveer has proposed an additional condition, and the applicant is fine with it. I'd like to know if the maker of the motion, Ms. Farley, and the seconder, Mr. Bruchak, are interested in adding the condition operating hours shall be no earlier than 5 a.m. to no later than 11 p.m.
Yes, Chair. I'd like to add that to the conditions, and I'd also like to request that the applicant update the hours on the application for both establishments.
Mr. Bruchak? Okay, I got a thumbs up from him also. Thank you. So, moving along. Sure. Captain Hansen.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I do need to represent Captain Harrison Zanders regarding the two businesses in question here. And up until February, I was the South District captain for 4 years, so I do understand where he's coming from and can fully answer any questions. But regarding the first store on Todd Drive in the Beltline there, he wanted it noted that he cannot fully support it, that there was a neighborhood meeting and the majority of the people in attendance expressed their concern. But he thought if it is moving forward, he was hoping for two conditions. No sale of many bottles of liquor. And then the other one, it looks like you have no sale of single cans or bottles. But the other email that I received from him and can really attest to is at 2201 South Park Street. We did have a number of issues at this location for the last few years, and those were not limited to just robbery, trespassing, public intoxication. But then what we found, and during some of our operations, is people would take their alcohol that they purchased from the store to illegally consume over at Penn Park. And this caused great concern for both the community and the police department, and we did several operations, and that would continue as well if this were to be granted, to try and halt that. Penn Park is a thriving, great, youthful place, and we had numerous issues there with public intoxication and other issues in Penn Park, which is 1 block away.
Excellent. Thank you, Captain Hansen. So, committee, there are many establishments that have a condition limiting the sale of what are commonly known as airplane bottles of alcohol. I have put an example of that on your screen. Alder Carter.
Chair,
Or go ahead, Ms. Farley.
I was just going to say, Chair, I intentionally did not include that because the current conditions do not allow the sale of liquor whatsoever.
Oh, right. Wow, if my head weren't attached. Thank you. Alder Carter.
Excuse me. Chair, I was going to mention that too. Thank you, Ms. Farley, for jumping in there. And then the other one is I'm concerned with adding wine and cider, but I'll just be monitoring that. So I don't have any comments regarding that. I think that that's something that we're going to have to monitor. That's it for me. I'm just trying to read it while I'm talking, so I guess I should read it first and come back.
I understand completely. I am, as you may notice, not good at multitasking. So, committee, we have a motion and a second. Are there any other questions or any further discussion? Would anybody like me to read out the conditions?
Yes, Chair Donnelly, can you do that for me?
I would be happy to. So the motion is to grant items 10 and 11, Lucky's Market at 2201 South Park and Lucky's Market at 2703 West Beltline, with the following conditions. Number 1, operating hours shall be no earlier than 5 a.m. to no later than 11 p.m. Number 2, sale of intoxicating liquor is limited to wine and cider. Number 3, there shall be no sale of single bottles or cans of beer or fermented malt beverages. Number 4, the establishment shall have outdoor lights with motion sensors for all sides of the building. And number 5, the establishment shall have video surveillance equipment inside and outside the building that complies with MGO 38.05 sub 13. So, is there any further discussion of this motion? Dr. Reese.
Sorry, just quick question. Can I clarify that on Park Street, what's being requested here is essentially the same as what the previous owner had in terms of
Correct.
beer and wine?
The conditions on both of the licenses at both locations were the same, and it was effectively these first two conditions.
Thanks. I just wanted to verify in reference to Captain Zander's email. So thank you.
Certainly. Alder Carter. Alder Carter?
Can wine be sold in singles?
Wine is almost always sold in singles.
I mean, in little bottles, I guess I want to say. I don't know.
In theory, yes. I've reviewed the conditions on a bunch of other licenses, and generally when we have a condition about container size, wine is explicitly excluded from that. I believe that it's the level of alcohol by volume in wine is such that there wouldn't be that much appeal to having a little bit of it.
Okay, and then also, can we add the no trespassing signage?
Committee?
They have there is one up there, but maybe it should be replaced with a new one.
Committee, what is your pleasure?
I do not wish to include that condition in my motion. I feel as though it should be up to the discretion of the business owner.
So, Alder Carter, if you would like to move to amend the current motion, that would certainly be in order.
Well, I think considering that both of these locations, I think that it should be there. I think that Lockheed knows that there's already signage there on both locations, actually have current signing there. So I would say maintain the signage.
So,
and you can wordsmith that.
Well, I mean, Ms. Farley has expressed that that is not what she wants to have in her motion, but if you wanted to move to amend it, that is something you could do, and then we vote on whether to change it or not.
Okay, then I would like it amended to include that.
So
I make the motion to add, oh, thank you, to maintain the no trespassing signs on the property.
All right, is there a second to the motion to amend? Alder Miadzi?
Yes, that's a second.
All right, seconded by Alder Miadzi. So is there any discussion of the motion to amend? Ms. Farley?
Given that the applicant already has signs on the property, this provision or condition was not a condition that was on the previous licenses. I feel like it is an excessive use of documenting or requiring something that seems to be like up to the business owner. So that's why I do not agree with this condition.
All right, thank you, Ms. Farley. Any further discussion of the motion to amend the original motion? Alder Carter.
No, I don't have any further discussion. Let's get a roll call.
Very well. Mr. Verbeek, will you please call the roll on Alder Carter's motion to amend?
Yes. Alder Miadzi?
Yes.
Miadzi, aye. Alder Revere?
Aye.
Alder Revere, aye. Mr. Baruchuk? Mr. Baruchuk, aye. Dr. Reese?
Nay.
Dr. Reese, no. Ms. Farley?
No.
Ms. Farley, no. Alder Carter?
Aye.
Alder Carter, aye. Chair, the vote is 4 ayes, 2 noes.
All right, motion carries. So what is now before us is a motion to grant with 6 conditions for both locations. Alder Carter.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay. So any further discussion about the motion to grant?
Is it trespassing or loitering? I thought there was discussion earlier about it.
Because there's no ordinance.
Gotcha.
Okay, so Mr. Bruchak.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to say I generally agree with Ms. Farley over adding excessive conditions, but in this case, I'm supporting the motion because we've heard that the signs are already there, 1, and 2, the applicant is okay with the conditions as testified to the committee.
Noted. Any further discussion of the motion to grant? Hearing none. Is there any dissent? Seeing no dissent, motion carries. Items 10 and 11 are granted with conditions, which I will email to our friend from the clerk's office. And congratulations, Lucky. Alder Carter, do you have a question?
Yeah, I just have one thing is for her application to be updated
Oh, with the hours?
with the hours and the fact that the Class A liquor is not being granted, so.
Oh, no, the Class A liquor is granted. It just granted with conditions that it can only be
With
used.
wine and beer, wine and cider, okay, got it, sorry.
Oh, you scared me. Okay.
Okay. Well, that was fun. So I believe we have exhausted the time available for items 9 and 14. So I will entertain a motion to take those up off the table again.
I move that we take it off the table, and I'm also second and move that it was referred to our next meeting.
All right. Do I hear a second to Alder Miadzi, to both of them, I assume? Cool. Any discussion or dissent to taking this off the table? Hearing none, motion carries. The next motion is to refer items 9 and 14 to the next regularly scheduled ALRC meeting. Same mover, Alder Carter, and seconder, Alder Miadzi. Any discussion? Hearing none. Any dissent? Hearing none, motion carries. Items 9 and 14 are referred. Next up, item 12. Item 12 is a new license for iMart on 5551 East Park Boulevard. Do we have a registrant here for this item, Mr. Verbeek?
We do. Eric Thibodeau is here and registered for this item.
Excellent. Eric, can you please introduce yourself and tell us about your proposed establishment?
Good evening. My name is Eric Thibault. I'm the regional manager for this site and 8 others around the Madison area. We did a liquor renewal for IYS Ventures back in August. And now we have transitioned to new ownership under Amir Investments for the East Park location. I will try to make this clear so we do not extend the discussion, but this should be extremely similar to the last liquor license that was just approved, where it's a Class A license with liquor, but with conditions for beer, cider, and wine. These are the same conditions that were approved under the last license. And we currently have those items on site with our existing license. So we're hoping that we can just keep the conditions the same. That's about all I got for you guys. The last time that we had the discussion, though, we have the same agent. His name's Bill. I apologize for interrupting, but Bill, the store manager, will be the agent for the site once again. So essentially the ownership's changing, but the structure of the corporation in terms of manager to regional manager is going to stay the same.
Here's the new boss, same as the old boss?
What was that?
Never mind. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So yes, the answer is yes. I will still be Bill's boss, and Bill will still be the agent at the site. In August, when we had this discussion, when we had this hearing, there was discussion about I might not possibly be able to be the representative for the meeting. And then one of the alders mentioned that Quick Trip has a regional manager that can be the representative on the hearing. So I'm hoping that we can clear that up so we don't have to have too much confusion this time.
Excellent. Thank you. Committee, what questions do you have for the applicant? All right. Mr. Verbeek, are there any other registrants for this item?
There are not.
Committee, what is your pleasure? Dr. Reese.
Just wondering if we could see the conditions to verify, and then I would move to grant with the conditions that are currently on the license, at the existing license.
I'm pulling them up right now. So here we go. All right, can you see a license?
Yes.
It apparently does not have any conditions at all. Alder Verveer.
Thank you, Chair. I think that that's clearly an error, as the applicant just testified. Can we pull up the minutes to the meeting? There clearly would be the limited to wine, considering there are gas pumps,
Right.
if not other conditions.
So I was actually looking at that just a second ago. So here is where we granted the license at that location in September. And let's see. So it's motion to grant with conditions, but, oh, wait, no, here we go. condition that there shall be no sale of intoxicating liquor with the exception of wine and cider.
Thank you. I'll second the motion and including that condition.
Who made the motion?
Dr. Reese just moved, did you not, Dr. Reese?
Yep, that's correct.
Excellent. Thank you. So we have a motion to grant with the condition that there be no sales of intoxicating liquor with the exception of wine and cider, seconded by Alder Verveer. Any discussion? Hearing none. Any dissent? Hearing none, motion carries. Item 12 is granted with the same condition that's on it presently.
Committee, I thank you.
Have a good night. Next up, item 13, another new license. Item 13, El Vaquero Mexican Grill at 3904 East Wash. This is for a Class B beer. Do we have a registrant for this item, Mr. Verbeek?
Let me just reload this. We didn't a moment ago. I emailed him before we took the last item. I do not see a registrant for this item.
How many times has this been on our agenda?
This is the first.
Committee, what's your pleasure? Dr. Reese.
I'll move to refer to our next scheduled ALRC meeting.
Your motion to refer. Do I hear a second? Second from Mr. Bruchak. Any discussion? Hearing none. Any dissent? Hearing none. Motion carries. Item 13 is referred. Next up, item 16. This is a kind of fun one. So item 16 is, let me actually pull this up. Amending sections 38.06 sub 11 and 12 of MGO to clarify exemptions related to alcohol beverage service and entertainment licenses. So I assume one of our Alder friends brought this forward. Alder Verveer, perfect.
I move adoption.
I hear a motion from Alder Verveer, second from Mr. Bruchak to adopt. Alder Verveer, would you like to speak to your motion?
I'll just simply state that this is consistent with the discussion and feedback that was held at the November ALRC meeting. Just took quite a while to get it drafted and introduced. I want to thank Attorney Zillaby for drafting it.
Excellent. Dr. Reese.
Alder Verveer, would you mind refreshing our memories a little bit? I'm just want to make sure I fully understand what it is, are the implications.
Yeah, so this is trying to clarify in Chapter 38 the confusion that we've seen several times over the last few years at our meetings, where we have third-party alcohol vendors, if you will, that are before us for the alcohol license, but not for an entertainment license. So I could share examples. For example, all the former Frank Productions Live Nation venues we all recall were switched over to a third-party vendor for their alcohol licenses in the last 6 months or so. And then there are other examples like city-owned properties, like Warner Park Community Recreation Center over at Botanical Gardens, where we've had similar situations. So these are venues that clearly have live music either regularly or from time to time, and thus by ordinance are required to hold an entertainment license. But there was a gray area as to if it's the alcohol license holder or the actual establishment that is employing this kind of third-party alcohol vendor responsibility to make application and hold that entertainment license. So this clarifies that and makes it clear that that it's the venue, not the alcohol license holder, that is required to have the application, including the required security plan and so forth.
Thanks. So then, there will be a few that that will probably have to come back before us, that that we had talked to recently about this, I'm guessing. Okay, never mind. It doesn't have any bearing on your motion, so I'll ask my other questions, which may result in like future clarifications, but it doesn't have any bearing on tonight, so thanks.
Well, you're welcome, Dr. Reese. I do think you raise a valid point, and perhaps we could ask Deputy City Clerk Verbeck if he has his office has the bandwidth, perhaps after the election, to reach out to those establishments and make it clear that they might very well be liable to hold an entertainment license now that they don't currently hold. Jim, can you address that, please?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that question? I was talking to the chair at the moment.
Do you have, does your office have the bandwidth to contact the people who have licenses where this would be relevant and let them know?
That they wouldn't need the entertainment license?
The alcohol vendors would not, but the venue owners will. Even though they're contracting out their alcohol service.
Oh, okay.
Venue owners still need to get an entertainment license.
Gotcha. Okay, I didn't pick that up when I read through this ordinance change, but yeah, I can certainly do that because we certainly need to follow. We certainly need to follow up with the people who do have it, who don't need it, but then we would then know who does need it, the venue holders who would need it. But I wasn't sure that the folks who aren't holding the alcohol license would need to hold the entertainment license, because I didn't know if that was the case.
Yeah, thank you, Jim. And that's exactly what this ordinance is attempting to clarify. So for example, High Noon Saloon, as I think I mentioned earlier, using them as an example, FPC Live would be required to hold the entertainment license, but not the alcohol licensee.
Gotcha. Okay.
Looks like the second clause in part 2 there.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons why this was delayed, by the way, is that I requested that Attorney Zillavi redraft this to make that crystal clear. So her drafter's analysis at the top and the language that you see here. And thank you, Chair Donnelly, for sharing the screen so that we can all see this. Is an attempt to help with this clarification.
Yeah, we can do that.
All right, Mr. Bruchak.
Actually, now, could I rudely interrupt? I just want to make sure that we have the right version on here.
This is what we had in the packet for this meeting.
I think it is the only version that's uploaded in Legistar. Thank you. There are earlier versions. I just want to make sure we have the correct one is in Legistar. Thank you. It looks correct now.
Thank you, Alder Revere. Any further comments? No. Okay, Mr. Bruchak.
Well, thank you, Chair. I would like to thank Alder Revere for sponsoring this and Attorney Zillavi for drafting it. This is good work. We need to always strive to reduce confusion and make things make sense. And this is a perfect example of small technical fix that does that. So I encourage everyone on this committee to support it, and I hope the Common Council likes it too.
Excellent. Any further discussion? Hearing none, is there any dissent? Hearing none, motion passes unanimously. All right. Next up, item 17. We have a vacancy on the ALRC Operators License Review Subcommittee. So, wait, I thought I found that last month.
So last month, we were going to wait because Dr. Reese is the alternate member on that committee, and we were going to ask Dr. Reese if she would like to be the primary voting member on that committee, but she was not present, so that's why we referred it to this month's meeting.
I see. Dr. Reese?
Sure.
All right. So I hear a motion to appoint Dr. Reese to the ALRC Operators License Review Subcommittee, filling the vacancy. Ms. Farley?
Second.
Second from Ms. Farley. Any discussion? Hearing none. Any dissent? Hearing none, motion carries. Congratulations, Dr. Reese. Next up, item 18. Item 18, report of Madison Police Department, summary of recent calls for service. So, Captain Hanson, is there anything that you would like to draw the committee's attention to?
Nothing for these calls for service. Just as a matter of fact, we start our DSI downtown this weekend. It is state basketball, so there may be an uptick in calls for service here over the next weekend here, but nothing from this report.
How are we expected to do in those in the basketball game?
Well, Badgers won last night, but it's the high school tournament that is the excitement downtown now.
Cool. Then I'm a lot less worried. For context, 4 years ago, maybe, we had an unexpected basketball victory that resulted in, I think, a record number of establishments that had not been in legal trouble before, all getting in trouble for the first time on the same night, which now makes me a little nervous about basketball games that go well. All right, anybody have any questions for Captain Hanson? Hearing none, moving on. Item 19, report of city clerk. Mr. Verbeek, is there anything to which you would like to draw our attention?
Before I start, I just wanted to, we have a registrant for item 20 in here. I just wanted to assure the registrant that the committee already passed item 20 on their consent agenda. So if you want to keep watching, feel free to do so, but you do not need to be here if you do not want to. For my report, I have nothing to add other than I will say that the renewal paperwork was sent out on March 1st for all our current license holders, as well as anyone who is currently in this process, or everyone who appeared before the committee today. We've had them fill out paperwork as well as I think we have folks who are going to leave in the April meeting fill out paperwork as well, just to carry them over from this current licensing year to the next licensing year. And we're starting to get them back at a steady pace. I don't have a report on how many we received, but that first deadline is going to be April 15th. So when we get there, I might be able to report back on how many we received, how many we're kind of waiting on. I know I got one today where it was an operation that is closed, and they've told me that they're closed and they're surrendering their license. So we now have actually 2 regular Class B combos available now. So that's been updated on our website and in our office. And so that's really all I got, unless you got anything for me.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Verbeek. Committee, what questions do you have for the Deputy City Clerk? Well, if there are not any, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion from Mr. Bruchak. Is there a second? Second from Ms. Farley. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed to have the same privilege. Motion carries. ALRC meeting is adjourned at 7:18 p.m. Have a great night, everybody.
Good night.
Could I or did I?
Could you?